Springer right now. Governor Jon Corzine of New Jersey. Governor Corzine has endorsed
nice to have you.
Hillary Clinton for president. Good to see you, Governor.
Good to be here.
You know, Governor, I've always resented governors who
Wait a minute, what a way to
who
start.
ran states.
Welcome.
Police. Hey, good morning, Cincinnati.
I know some people in New Jersey that feel the same way.
Good morning, Trent. No, I've always resented governors who ran their states during economic booms because cash was just flowing into the state, and they were the stars, and they had 70% approval rating. And I've always felt sorry for governors through no fault of their own that ran states when we had a recession hit, because of course the second that happens, tax revenue goes down. You've got to start cutting at the worst time, or you've got to start raising taxes at the worst time. Talk about what you're feeling in New Jersey and how it relates to the national. Well, let me ask you this. Are we in a recession nationally?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
No doubt about it.
No question.
Well, of course, you don't know anything about. Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
He was CEO of Goldman Sachs.
I think he
So
might
talk about
know.
it.
Home prices are down, what is it, 12, 13% year over year. That's the chief savings method for most people in the country. Unemployment's rising. Growth level of jobs is down. You know, those are that just doesn't work. And then you add high gas prices, high insurance costs, high tuitions. You know, this is not a good time for
it almost sounds like
mom and dad.
Yeah, it almost sounds like stagflation.
Well, it has some of the elements, but I think that the real issue is that the things that people have to buy, the real deal, food
prices are
gas, and all those things, are really pressing people. And, you know, raising taxes, even for a Democrat, not a great idea right now, in my view. We ought to be seeing help in Washington for the states so that we're not encouraging cutbacks as sharply as we're having to do in the states. We're actually first time, one of 3 times since World War II that we're actually cutting absolute dollars out of the budget while inflation is going up.
And again, at the worst time, because you look at the economy, the last thing you want to do is you want to cut spending during bad economic times. You don't want to raise taxes during bad economic times. It seems like the leaders...
But we don't get to print money like they do down
well, exactly.
So we have a balanced budget.
Yeah, I bet you miss Washington, don't you, Senator? So what can Washington do to get us out of this recession? Is Bernanke doing all he can do?
Well, I actually think they've been pretty aggressive in the last couple of months. I wish they'd done that earlier. I wish they'd recognized that there was a problem. I think with respect to the housing crisis, they could have figured this out last summer, a year or 9 months ago. But they're actually doing the things that they need to do right now, putting money into the system, and I think that in the long run will actually turn around, because people low short-term interest rates means people got to look for other ways to earn money, and they will stretch out on the risk curve. The likelihood, though, that we're not doing enough out of Washington itself is a real problem. You know, you've heard about freezing interest rates and putting a timeout on mortgage foreclosures. I think needs to be done. That's, I know you're going to ask me a little bit about the presidential in a little bit, but that's the fact was that Senator Clinton's been out in front on this stuff for a very long time. This is not new stuff. She's been talking about it. I think you see it now in the Dodd-Franks or Franks-Dodd initiative, and a lot of people talking about it. We need to do something about the write-down of value in people's homes.
I'm sorry, I was just going to ask really quickly about, do you think Barack Obama, you've been CEO of Goldman Sachs, you understand finance, you understand the economy as well as anybody. If you were leaving Goldman Sachs and had to choose a successor, would you select somebody that had been in your business for 1 year?
First of all, I like both of these.
Of course you do. We all do. We love everybody.
I don't buy this argument that we're not going to get back together and all that other stuff. That's nonsense.
Garbage.
The reality is that I think Senator Clinton is far more experienced in these issues and has a team of people around her. That it was really, you know, Bob Rubin. I think I like the guy.
Do you really?
I think he actually knows something about these things, and we actually created 21 million jobs during that 8-year period. I think that the team is in place that actually will be able to address a lot of these issues. Do I think that Senator Obama will be able to recruit that crowd? Yes.
Well, Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, is introducing him at his economic speech today. That's probably a pretty good start, wouldn't you think?
I think it's a good start. I have a high degree of confidence that both folks will be able to do a good job. I happen to think that the most qualified is Senator Clinton.
What do we do moving forward? You tried to help the Democratic Party out of the mess. You talked about raising the money to do a redo in Florida
and Michigan.
The idea of
leaving out Michigan and Florida
is insane. It's insane.
Where do we come from?
I mean, Florida Democrats that I know, that I worked with in Congress, a lot of their friends, a lot of my friends, really upset with the Democratic Party and wondering why their votes aren't going to count. So you step into the fray and you try to fix it. And it seems like you got stiff-armed.
Well,
why
I think
in the
it looked
world?
a little too
political.
It looked too pro-Hillary, too political. On the other hand, the idea of sticking a finger in the eye of the voters in Florida and Michigan, I think, is a huge mistake, and I think it will pay a price for it in November.
With that too.
Two big swing states. So how do we get this resolved? Super delegates are going to choose the winner. Everybody's telling Hillary, not everybody, but Nick Kristof and everybody is setting the ground rules for which Hillary can continue running. Thanks,
David
Nick.
Brooks.
Nobody appointed you God.
Okay.
But a lot of people saying Hillary needs to get out. She's offending our delicate sensibilities. Well, Barack Obama cannot get enough delegates between now and the end of the process to be the nominee either. So how do we do it?
First of all, the hill is a little steeper for Hillary than it is for Barack at this point. If she wins substantially, and I think we ought to be talking about pluralities in Pennsylvania, not numbers. If she wins 350, 400,000 votes, I think she's going to be in a lot better shape post April 22nd than she is today. And they're going to be, you close that popular vote gap, and then see what happens in the other primaries. I don't think the die is cast. I'm an old Giants fan.
Right.
I think it was, what was it, 14-10 going into the last minute and 30 seconds in the Super Bowl, and the Giants scored easily on that drive. I can't tell you how this is going to work out, and I don't think anybody else can, and I think we ought to let it play out, and I think she has her opportunity to demonstrate in big states and in a wide variety of places that she has the popular support to win this.
And I sure as hell would never count the Clintons out any more than Eli Manning.